there, my name is Crystal and I am a EF Ultimate Break ambassador. I'm also a singer, a songwriter, and a girl who loves to rant. So welcome to my YouTube page. If you found yourself here today, it is because you are a Black person or a person of color who is interested in traveling with EF Ultimate Break, and you kind of just want to figure out if this is the right thing for you, and so you've stumbled upon my video. So welcome. Please excuse the noise. They are doing construction in my apartment building right now, but I really wanted to make this video because it's top of mind for me. I've heard a lot of people ask questions about like, what's the experience being a Black person on an EF Ultimate Break trip? I've never seen a video from a Black person on an EF Ultimate Break trip. So if you are one of those people who's asked those questions, you have come to the right place today. So I wrote down a list of some stuff to talk about, but I'm just gonna start off by explaining what EF Ultimate Break is. So basically, EF Ultimate Break is a travel company that specializes in group travel for people ages 18 to 35, and they take trips all around the world throughout the year. And what's awesome about EF Ultimate Break is that they offer payment plans. You guys know times are hard. Inflation is crazy right now, and so budgeting is so important, especially as people who are traveling in their 20s or their early 30s. Like, we got to be smart about our money. And so for me, after graduating from college, I knew EF Ultimate Break was one of the ways that I wanted to travel. And so one of the first things that I did was look into their payment plan options. I then signed up for my first trip in 2021, and I signed up for 2023. So I started my payment plan in 2021 so that I can pay as I went. And I was basically paying a fee every single month towards that future trip. So while you might go on the website and see the prices and say to yourself like, oh, this is super daunting, keep in mind that there are payment plans and that you can budget this trip. You don't have to worry about paying that flat fee that you would if you were going on this trip by yourself. And so that's what I really love about EF Ultimate Break, is that it takes that stress off of me of saying, oh my gosh, I have to pay like $2,000 or $4,000 for this dream trip of mine. Nope, I'm paying as I go so that I don't even have to, think about it. I went to Bali last year. That was my first EF Ultimate Break trip. And I went, I think it was like March. It was like March the same time last year, like March 8th to like the 16th or something like that. So yeah, I went to Bali, and I was super excited to go to Bali. It wasn't like the first trip that I had wanted to go on, but it worked out. I had actually wanted to go to Paris, and my Paris trip didn't work out, but I'm happy that I went to Bali instead because I'm more of a tropical girly. So yeah, my Bali trip was actually surprisingly very diverse. And I say surprisingly just because when you sign on to like a group travel like thing, you don't really know like what you're getting into. I think many people like they get excited at the idea of travel or like group travel, but then they think to themselves like, wait, who am I going to be traveling with? I'm going by myself, or I'm going with another friend of mine, but I'm going to be with like 16 other people or 20 other people. I don't know who I'm going to be with, and that can be a little bit scary. For me, I was like, that's a little bit nerve-wracking, but also I just want to travel. Let's do this. And so I was very surprised to find that my Bali trip was actually very diverse. I think I was like one of 4 Black people. There was a lot of people on my trip who identified as Latinx. There was a few people on my trip who identified as white, and then there were a few people on my trip who identified as Asian. And so it was a pretty good, like a good mix of people. And we had a really good time. It was a pretty chill group. And when you're on trips like this, a lot of people going on these trips are going alone, or they're going with just another friend. And so you kind of get to meet new people, and you get to vibe and make friends from all around America. Like, I was surprised at like how like I was meeting people from all across the US that I would not have met if I hadn't gone on the trip. So it was really nice. And I'm glad that we all clicked and vibed. Going into the trip, I will say like the part that was nerve-wracking for me was because of the fact that I have gone to PWIs in the past, and I have had my experiences in those spaces that weren't very nice. And so that was in the back of my mind. Like, I hope I don't run into anyone who triggers me in that way, if you get what I'm putting down. But it was really nice. I was very happy to say that like that was not my experience. There was so many people who I vibed with really well, and afterwards added on Instagram, and I still talk to this very day. One great thing about EF Ultimate Break is a month before your tour, they will create a group chat for you and the people you're traveling with. So before you even, step foot in that airport, you are talking to these people in that group chat before you go. You're talking to your tour directors, and you're getting to know people. You're getting to know people who, You don't necessarily get to pick your roommates, but you get to talk to the people who may be your roommates. So that's super chill as well, because then, you know, it takes that anxiety away from, you know, I'm going on this trip with strangers. I don't know how they feel about certain things. Like, you don't got to worry about that because you're talking to these people a month out. And so you get to get that vibe early on. Lastly, I just want to say that, you know, if you're going on this trip by yourself, you couldn't convince any of your friends to go on this trip with you, do not worry. Travel is such an amazing experience. It is such a privilege in this life to be able to see the world. And I think it's just such a blessing to be able to do that. And so I don't want you to feel anxious about thinking about like, oh, like, who's going to be on this trip, or I'm going alone. Like, those are valid feelings, but I don't think you should let that stop you from being able to experience, you know, such an amazing opportunity such as traveling. So if this is something that you've been feeling that you want to do, I highly suggest continuing to do your research and giving it a good think and then making your decision. Don't base your decision on, oh, who's going to be on the trip or I'm going alone, but base your decision on your long-time goals. Do you want to say in the future that you traveled the world in your 20s and your early 30s? If so, this might be the best option for you. If not, then maybe there is another opportunity that will come for you later. But for me, this was the best opportunity for me, and I do not regret it. I also have those fears and those anxieties, but I'm so happy that I put them behind me and I was able to enjoy this trip. So EF Ultimate Break does have this cool group chat. Well, it's not a group chat, it's more like a group on Facebook. It's called EF Ultimate Break Travelers. And so a lot of people who have either gone on EF Ultimate Break trips or are thinking of going on EF Ultimate Break trips, they use that Facebook page to kind of talk to other people and ask questions. So if you're thinking of going and this video kind of sparks that excitement in you, I would highly suggest joining that group page. I also wanted to say that EF Ultimate Break is currently offering this really cool thing called group coordinator trips. Group coordinator trips are basically the same thing as an EF Ultimate Break trip. The only thing is that you or somebody that you know or me would be signing up to basically gather a group of people to go on that trip together. So for me, I'm really thinking of leading a Black History Month trip to either one of the African trips like Kenya or Ghana, or maybe one of the diaspora countries like Brazil. I think it'd be really cool to do that like next February during Black History Month. And so basically, if I went through with that idea, which I am thinking of, so stay tuned for more. But if I were to go through with that, basically you would be able to sign up with my specific link. You would be able to save $200 off that trip, and then we would be going technically as like a group. The reason why I say technically is because you have to get 6 to like 11 people to sign up, and then on top of that you'd be joining another trip that's already being organized. But we would be basically a small group of people, small to large group of people going on that trip together. So that's really fun and that's super exciting. So if you're hesitant to go alone, I highly suggest once again to look into those Facebook groups that I was talking about, and see if there are any group trips being offered currently that align with your travel goals. But if you are also interested in possibly going somewhere for Black History Month, February 2025, please let me know in the comments, because I would love to coordinate that trip. But that is another option. If you are, you know, nervous about going on a trip by yourself, and you want to go on a trip with specifically people who identify with your ethnicity or your background, you might want to look into going on a group trip like the one I'm suggesting. So that's another option for you. But yeah, that's everything I had for you today. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions, and make sure to use my link to get $100 off your first EF Ultimate Break trip, and you can find that link in the description box. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope that if you do sign up for EF Ultimate Break that you have an amazing future trip. God bless you. Bye.